Hello, hey beautiful people. Welcome once again to Founder 360, where we innovate, grow, and transform businesses. And we are not just about transforming businesses, we also want to transform your life. Your financial life, your financial goals are gonna change. So, for those who are new here, my name is Glory Muturi. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay in the loop so that once we produce a new video, you get an alert. So today's topic is about savings, and this is one of my most passionate areas. I love saving. I love everything to do with being economical, being frugal, being, living within my means. That is an area I'm very passionate about. And let's begin by understanding what is savings. Or it's putting money aside for future use. And this future use doesn't necessarily have to be a rainy day or an emergency. It can be to grow yourself, to purchase something that you've wanted for so long, but you're not able to raise the full price at a go, or to invest. So you can be saving for so many other reasons. I hope today's video is going to transform you from a yo-yo saver to an effective saver. So, where do you begin? My first point towards becoming an excellent saver is finding your why. You can decide, well, I'm beginning to save, but if you don't have a clear vision, a clear mission, and a clear understanding of where you're saving, you might not get the motivation and the drive to achieve your saving goal. So, what you need to understand for a start is find your why, find your purpose, understand why you want to save. You could be saving to, put up a mortgage deposit. You could be saving to pay your education. You could be saving for a rainy day. You never know. With this pandemic, we've learned that life perfection is not guaranteed. You could be saving to also purchase an asset. So understand your why, put that figure down and work towards achieving that why. Secondly, create a budget. And by creating a budget, I mean put aside your expenses, put aside your income, and be as honest and sincere with yourself on how you spend your money. You don't have, the moment you're putting down a budget, you don't have to deny yourself necessities. No. By putting a budget down, it means you list down everything you spend within a month, which is consistent, which is something you do every other month. Write it down, compare it with your income, and then adjust your budget to what is comfortable for you. Don't press yourself so hard that it starts making no sense why you're saving or why you're making a budget. So once you come up with a budget, you create a step-by-step formula on how you spend your money. You may end up at the end of the month, or let's say it's a weekly budget at the end of the week, you may find yourself going above or below the budget. You will be able to adjust accordingly and make everything predictable and fit in your budget. And through that, you will be able to know where the loopholes are, where you need to improve, and plan your finances much better. Tip number 3 is tracking your spending. Well, this is so related to coming up with a budget, because now once you have a budget, the way you spend, the day-to-day spending needs to be tracked. Once you spend money, at the end of the day, maybe you have a notebook or an Excel sheet whereby you say, I spent this amount of money on XYZ. And by tracking your daily spending, you'll be able to know where your money goes, and that will help you so much in staying on the budget lane and help you also towards improving on your savings. Tip number 4 is planning your meals. I know this sounds so strange or cliche to so many, but planning meals helps you avoid the unnecessary trips to the mall. It helps you put together everything, you and your loved ones, or you and your family, or you and your roommates know exactly what you need for your meals within a particular period, let's say a week or a fortnight. And by purchasing everything beforehand, you help or you protect yourself from impulses that come or arise once you go to the malls. I have found myself so many times going to the mall to pick one single item, and I end up with a basket full of things that I didn't plan to purchase. So planning my meals or planning your meals helps you, protect yourself from impulses. The fifth tip is have intervals of no spending weeks or days. Once you have everything in your house, why do you need to spend? The only reason that you need to spend could be an emergency. Unless that is the case, then you don't need to spend. And by having those intervals of no spending, you realize you're not using your money, you're not, redirecting your money to uh, areas that it wasn't meant to go, and that helps build your liquidity and improves on your savings. So have intervals of no spending days or weeks. The sixth point is clear off your debts. I know we all want to live a debt-free life. We all want to improve. We all want to improve on our savings, but it's almost impossible to save when we have debts. So it's important for the small time debts like credit card debts, mobile money debts, salary advances. Focus on settling those first so that once your income comes in, you have something to put aside towards your savings. But if you have debts, once your income comes in, it's just slashed by your debts, and you don't even feel like you're making any money at all. So pay up your debt. And for the business debts, the mortgage debts, I know those are capital investments, and they may be difficult to pay up at once, and some are guided by some terms and principles. So I am not talking about those debts that probably put a roof over our head. I'm talking about the small time avoidable debts that you don't need to be running around with every other day. So please pay up your debts. My seventh tip is schedule an automatic checkoff, or what we call placing a standing order with your bank. For salaried people, you almost have a certain date that you expect to receive your salary. You can make an arrangement with your bank that once the money hits your account, to be directly checked off to a different or a separate bank account that acts as your savings account. That way, once you go to access now your salary, you'll be accessing it less. You'll be accessing it less the savings, and that will help you so much in managing, those temptations that come around at the end of the month when you see big figures in your bank account, and through that you will be growing your savings. My eighth tip is going cash. And by going cash, I mean having tangible, liquid, physical money in your wallet. I know this is the age of technology advancement. I am pro technology advancement. I am pro the cashless economy. But when it comes to my small time bills and spending, uh, I prefer paying cash. That way, I'm able to have a physical representation of how money is just, how money is just getting out of my wallet. And this helps me develop a conservative attitude towards money and makes me think twice before I pay for something. And that helps me also retain more money to myself and probably redirect it towards savings, as compared to swiping my card, swiping my credit card, swiping my debit card. I don't get the physical representation of how the money is, being deducted from my bank account. So going cash gives you a physical representation of how you're spending your money, and that helps you, to develop that, no, I don't want to spend this money on this item. And that helps you also, and that helps you to be more liquid and redirect, your money towards savings. My ninth tip is practice the 24 hours 30-day rule. What is the 24 hours 30-day rule? For example, you have this urge to purchase something, and you really want to buy it there and at that moment. Give yourself this challenge. Wait for 24 hours. See if still that if try and see if you still have the same urge. And surprisingly, in most cases, when it's something that you necessarily don't need, you will be surprised that the urge has fizzled out, and you'll end up not spending money on the item that probably you probably didn't need. And sometimes perhaps your urge is still there and this item is a necessity. So you will have given yourself 24 hours to think through and make a sound decision about purchasing the item. On the other hand, the 30-day rule applies or works in the same way, and it goes to, the large capital items. Say for example, furniture. You want to purchase a furniture or an item for your house or for your apartment, and you've just seen it you've just seen it, and you're thinking, do I have this amount of money to spend on this particular item? Please give yourself 30 days to think through, to go, back home and see what you want to replace. You will be so surprised that you may not actually need that item. And at the end of the day, you're more liquid and you're redirecting money towards your savings. My 10th tip towards saving is watch out on FOMO. And by FOMO, I mean the fear of missing out. In today's world, we are driven by crowds, by our peers, and if we are not careful, we may find ourselves checking other people's boxes off instead of checking our own boxes off. And by that I mean, you see so and so doing something, and you think, oh, let me also do it, without realizing you're not at the same income level. It may not be a priority to you, it may not be a necessity to you, but you end up checking their boxes. And unfortunately, this is so detrimental to your own financial growth. If we can be able to stay away from FOMO, have our own principles, have the power of saying no, we will be doing ourselves so much good towards preserving our resources, our financial resources, and redirecting them towards savings. My 11th tip is turn trash into cash. You've heard the saying that one person's trash could be another person's treasure. But not all hand-me-downs and donations should go out for free. For example, you have a particular furniture that still carries good value. Rather than disposing it off or giving it out for free, you can sell it at a small, price, considering that the item has been used. You can just depreciate it slightly and sell it, and that way you will make money out of it instead of going at 100% loss. And that money you make, you can always redirect it towards your savings, and that will help grow your savings account. My 12th tip is buying new versus buying secondhand. Well, this depends, buying new versus buying secondhand. Not all cases you'll find that buying new is economically viable, and in other cases you may find that buying second hand or used items doesn't make economic sense. So Once you decide to purchase an item, look at how long you want to use it, compare the prices between the new item and maybe a second-hand item about that. And that you'll be able to make a sound decision, because sometimes you may buy a pre-owned item and it may not serve you for a long time because of the much wear and tear it has gone through. And in such a case, you'll find that buying a new item could be pricier at first, but it will serve you for a longer time. So the decision of buying new versus second hand entirely depends with the item and the situation, and also the financial position of the person who is purchasing that item. But all in all, whatever decision you make, ensure that it does not affect or dig into your savings. My 13th tip is your housing expenditure should not exceed 25% of your income. I grew up with this saying from my mom that you should always cut your coat according to the size of your clothes. And that simply means living within your means. If you're living above 25%, or if your rent exceeds 25% of your income, you're probably living above your means. You cannot be handing your landlord more than 25% of your income. You'll have nothing left on you. You'll be affecting your future financially. You will not be saving as much as you should be saving, and you will not be securing yourself. So it is very important to understand that your rental expenditure should not exceed 25% of your income. My 14th tip is save those loose change. How often have you put hands in a jacket or a coat or a bag that you rarely use and bumped on some notes or coins? I believe this has happened to all of us. And why do you think that happens? Because we have money hanging carelessly in our clothing. We don't even realize we have that money. We are not even aware there's money in our purses. And if that money lands in the wrong hands, we may not even ever know we had that kind of money. But if we had sort of a piggy bank at home, and always make it a culture of, checking our bags, checking our pockets, probably before laundry or after coming from maybe shopping, and just throwing in the loose change there, we would not be having this money lying around and possibly getting lost without our own control. So it is very, very, very important to be able to control also the little money that hangs around our pockets, our bags, and channel it towards a piggy bank. And we can have this system in our households whereby maybe after a certain period we open the piggy bank and put that money aside towards our savings, or deposit the money into our savings account. You'll be so shocked that at the end of the day, in the long run, it is a lot of money. It's so much money. My 15th tip, which is my favorite, is find an extra source of income. Get a job, get a side hustle, do something to just boost your income. There are so many remote jobs available today. There are so many side hustles that you can start for little money. I have done a video on businesses that you can start with Kenya shillings 20,000 or less. My main point is just find an extra source of income. Don't depend on just that single income that you have, because having just one source of income is so close to none. If something happens along the way, you will be in a lot of financial problems. So find an extra source of income. I will be doing videos about jobs you can do at home, ways of investing and getting passive incomes, and many more. I hope you've learned something today from my 15 tips of being an excellent saver, and I look forward to each and everyone securing their financial future and growing their savings accounts. Until next time, take care.